The first thing that struck me was the smell: damp timber, rust, and a faint trace of rot buried beneath the sharp bite of detergent. It was the kind of odor that suggested someone had tried, and failed, to scrub away something far uglier than dirt. Then came the sound, a cough, followed by the faint rattle of a chain dragging against concrete. I followed it down a narrow hallway until I saw her, my daughter. She looked frail, her skin pale, her eyes hollow, carrying none of the life I remembered. A cuff clamped her wrist to a pipe, and a damp, filthy blanket was draped across her knees. When her eyes lifted to mine, she whispered a single word: "Dad." My hands trembled as I reached for the chain, desperate to free her. But she recoiled, her voice broken and strained. "Help my son first." Her son. My grandson. I froze. "He's gone," I told her, my voice cracking. "They said he died." She turned her head slowly, eyes wide with desperate disbelief. That's when I noticed it, a faint child's handprint smeared across the inside of the cellar wall. Fresh. Small. Alive. My blood ran cold. The world had told me my grandson had been buried months ago. A car accident, they said. Closed casket. My daughter too shattered to even speak at the funeral. I had believed it, because grief blinds you. Because sometimes it's easier to cling to the lie than rip open the skin of truth. But now the lie was sitting in front of me, shackled and shaking. Why here? Why in my son-in-law's house? I searched her face for answers, but she turned away. Shame burned across her features. Fear too. And betrayal, not of me, but of her. Betrayal by the man she had trusted. The man who had smiled at me across dinner tables, called me Dad, poured me drinks, all while concealing this dungeon beneath his roof. I wanted to storm upstairs and drag him down into the pit he had created. But blind fury is useless noise, and noise gets people killed. I needed patience. Silence. So, I began to observe. The boy was here. I was sure of it. I heard footsteps at night that were too light to belong to a grown man. I caught whispers when my son-in-law left the house. I discovered a tiny shoe wedged beneath a floorboard, and a scrap of paper scribbled in a child's hand. "Help us." I studied my son-in-law like a specimen under glass. His routines, his calls, the subtle cracks in his carefully controlled exterior. He left early, came home late, always composed. But his eyes betrayed him. A flicker of paranoia when conversations neared forbidden topics. A hesitation whenever I said the boy's name. Digging deeper, I found his records. Strange withdrawals. Payments routed to places tied to missing children. Places where little ones disappeared, never to return. Night after night, I pieced the truth together while my daughter's cough haunted me in the dark. He hadn't lost the boy, he had hidden him. And I already knew the why. Because cruelty like his isn't random. It's deliberate. Practiced. Perfected. The confirmation came in a file, evidence slid across a table in shadows. Photos. Dates. Proof. My son-in-law wasn't just concealing my grandson. He was selling him. Leasing him out like property to men who paid for destruction under cover of darkness. When I showed the file to my daughter, her silence was worse than screaming. She already knew. Her lips trembled, but no words came. She had lived in chains heavier than steel. That night, I walked into his kitchen with a file in hand. He looked up, startled, a glass of whiskey hovering midair. I placed the folder before him. He opened it, and color drained from his face. His eyes searched mine for fury, for shouting, for fists. But I gave him nothing. Nothing but silence. And silence is a mirror. In it he saw himself. And it broke him. I didn't call the police, not yet. I let him drown in it first. In the knowing. In the fear. In the collapse of his carefully built walls. Every day he studied me, waiting. Every night, he wondered when it would all come crashing down. His hands shook. His sleep unraveled. His drinking worsened. Meanwhile, I freed my daughter. And I found the hidden room. There, my grandson lay curled beneath a blanket, alive, silent, with eyes too old for his young face. When my son-in-law discovered them both gone, he knew. He didn't need my words. I left the file on his bed, every page of his sins staring back at him. And then I walked away, carrying the 2 souls he thought he owned. 2 days later, the police stormed his house. They found him hanging by a rope, the file still open beside him. The world called it suicide. I called it justice. I stood back and watched my daughter hold her son, both of them trembling as they clung to each other. No words could repair what he had destroyed, no gesture could undo the rot he had sown. But survival, I realized, is its own kind of revenge. And I had given them that. As for me, there was no triumph. Only the hollow calm that comes when the storm has passed. Because when you strip away the facade of family, you don't always find love or blood. Sometimes, you find chains. And when those chains snap, someone always hangs in their place.